6 demonstration, and my colleague James will be leading that. James, as he noted, is one of our product managers for Quantrix, and he's spent a lot of time working with our engineers and customers developing the features of the Dependency Inspector, and I'll turn it over to James.
Okay, so we've got a mildly complicated model here, and I'm just going to quickly walk through some of the things we've been working on with the Dependency Inspector. One of the first things we did with the Dependency Inspector is we added a keyboard shortcut. So we made it easier for our users to access the Dependency Inspector, and I'm just going to demonstrate that now. You can use the keyboard shortcut Alt, T, and then D to access the Dependency Inspector. So the Dependency Inspector's got a new home. It's now a prominent position. It's a very key feature in Quantrix Modeler, and so it deserves its own little home here at the bottom. You can obviously move this around as needed, but we decided that it needs to have a little bit more space, make it a little bit less cramped, and so we decided to give it this new home here. So if I just go and examine one of these numbers here, let's go and take this here. You'll notice that we've matched the design, we've given it a flat look and matched it to the overall look and feel of the Quantrix Modeler application. One of the other features we added was our highlighting and partial calculations. So if I just go across here, again, use the shortcut keys to open up my Dependency Inspector. I'm just going to pick a ending balance here in year 2 Q4, and we're going to inspect this cell. So one of the things we added, you'll notice as I hover over each of these nodes, if you look down in the formula pane, down here in the bottom of the Dependency Inspector, you'll see that the node I'm hovering over is being highlighted in that formula. So if you use a specific item or matrix, it's going to be apparent where that's being used in the formula. And if it's used more than one place, it's going to highlight it in more than one place. Another very powerful feature we added was the ability to perform partial calculations. So note this won't affect your calculation performance. It's going to do these calculations on the fly. But what that means is here we have a very simple formula going on here. But what I can do is I can highlight over a specific node. Obviously I have my value up here for my accrued required returns. And I can see here that this is negative. And we're going to inspect that same value of 21. And you can see here it tells me the same thing. It tells me that I've got a node denoted by this group of item 1 to total. And if I open that up instantly, if I close this formula pane to give us some more space, move this up a bit, it's removed those summary items. And so now I can very easily visually inspect and see that item 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 with their values do indeed equal 21. Switch back across into version 5 and look at the second example, and that is the problem with formatting. So if you had number formats applied to your matrices or to your cells within your matrices, sometimes it was very hard, even though you were trying your best with the Dependency Inspector, to try and solve a problem. In this very simple example, I have a result of 0, and I'm going to say, why did I get 0? And if I look at this here, I'm saying it's item 1 times item 2, so that's 1 times 1 equals 0. Now, that doesn't really help me. And maybe I'm unaware that there's some formatting applied to my matrix. If I switch across into version 6, go ahead and look at the same problem. I inspect my 0. I'm going to stay in 6 here just to demonstrate another thing, and this is with one of the new functions which came with version 5, that was sublist. It's a very useful formula for creating a rolling average. I'm just going to inspect a rolling average here and just point out a few things which maybe weren't blindingly obvious, which are going to really help explain your formulas to you. So within the co-highlighting, you can see here when I highlight this argument here, it's going to say my list, and it's going to tell me there's 24 items in this list. But what it's also going to do is it's going to be aware of the formula that you're using. So in this case, I'm using the sublist formula. if I were to check in my formula pane, you would see that the arguments are list, to, and from. So when I inspect this here, you can see my argument from 4. It's going to tell me that this whole part of the formula is being used to calculate from. And again, this final part, to. And as we move on and I show you more examples, it'll become aware that this can be very handy in dissecting your formula.